Ma'am, we are on live, ma'am, and we are starting session.
Yes.
So, very good evening, doctors. I'm Dr. Stalin on behalf of Shield Healthcare, welcoming you all for the Tnfog Marathon CME on Pocso Act. I welcome all the chief guests and chairpersons and speakers for the today's session. Now, I take my pleasure to introduce our Dr. Sampath Kumari, ma'am. Madam is currently the chief and HOD of Muthukumar Medical College and Research Institute, Chennai. Madam is the Foxy Vice President elected 2022, Founder Secretary of Tnfog, second member of TN Dr. MGR University 2021-24, Chairperson Fox Adolescent Committee 2016-18. Madam was a Deputy Director and Professor of OG Department. Madam is retired and the President of Board of Studies of TN Dr. MGR University. A member Board of Studies, OG Meenakshi Medical University, ICOG Governing Council member, and Madam has received various awards to her credit and service. Like in specific, I can see like IMA Doctors Day Award from IMA TN State Branch, Foxy Dr. Durusha Distinguished Community Service Award, and Madam has also received written various chapters in Foxy textbooks, Foxy Focus and newsletters. So with this short introduction, I welcome you, ma'am. I'm handing session to you for further proceedings, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Stalin. And I welcome you all on behalf of Tnfog. Last month, we didn't have our marathon CME due to that ASUOG at Indo. See, this month, our theme of CME is Pocso Act, which is the need of the hour. See, as all of us know, 1 in 8 in 1 girls and 53 in 1 boys are sexually abused by adults. So we have to know what is Pocso Act and what are all the forms to be filled up and what the doctors should know, how the patient should be treated. For this only, we have taken the Pocso Act as the main thing. For this, I invite our active member, Dr. Rajeshri, as the coordinator for this CME. Dr. Rajeshri, she is a senior consultant at Cloud9 Hospital and Ashri Maternity Clinic, Chennai, and EC member of Foxy, area of special interest is high-risk pregnancy, contributed to the management of labor, 3rd edition, textbook of postgraduates and practitioners. Dr. Rajeshri, welcome.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Sampath Kumari, madam. Can we all now have the Tamil word to start with the prayer? I request all of you to join.
திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் வணங்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனே உன் சீரிழமை திறம்பியந்த செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்ததுமே
After the prayer, we'll have the lighting of the lamp to dispel the darkness before we proceed. Thank you. Next, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Anjalakshi Madam. She's a senior consultant obstetrician gynecologist Chennai. She's a founder president Tnfog. She's past president of Foxy, governing council member DIPSI, recipient of the Best Doctor Award from IME, retired professor obstetric and gynecology from Madras Medical College, and she retired as professor and HOD Mada Medical College. She's presented a number of papers in national and international conferences. We all know her very well. Ma'am, I request you to give the president address and release the e-newsletter.
Okay, thank you, Rajastri. Dear friends, good evening to everyone. Respected Dr. Jitendra Sharma, Dr. MC Patel, Dr. Vidya Reddy, my dear friends Manon Mani, Anuradha, Sumati Premanand, Subhashini, and Selva Kumar, and my secretary and treasurer and Rajastri. It is indeed a great pleasure to give the welcome address for this important CME on Pocso Act. Most of us, we don't know, we don't have a clear idea about this act, and we have the expert on that, Professor Jitendra Sharma, to take us on what gynecologists should know about the act. I welcome you, sir. I welcome Dr. Vidya Reddy, who is going to give us the overview of the Pocso Act. And I also welcome our dear Dr. MC Patel, who is always with us for any medical legal problems. And he is going to conduct the panel on various case scenarios and how we have to conduct ourselves in those conditions. And this CME is going to be of great knowledge for all of us. And let us enjoy the evening. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Madam, Dr. Selva Kumar will be talking about how to fill up the forms after the panel.
Okay.
He is HOD of Madras Medical College Forensic Department.
Okay.
Okay. Now we will release the newsletter. All of you please join. Chitrakala. I request everyone to go through this newsletter. You have a lot of important messages.
I have put up the Pocso Act in that fully.
Yes, madam. Especially Selva Kumar's and Vidya madam, definitely they should go through.
Very nice.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Awesome,
Thank
madam.
you.
Chitrakala model page upcoming events. Before that, May 22nd program. No problem. Leave it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You go ahead with the program.
Yes, May 22nd, we have a physical meeting at Hotel Ramada. That is on Sunday, 1 o'clock from 1 o'clock. Lunch followed by the meeting. I request all of you to join this meeting in large number as possible. The meeting will be on PCOS. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjalakshmi madam, and thank you, Sampath madam. We'll move on to the next session, which is a scientific session. And to chair the session, we have Dr. Shanti Rani. Can I have her slide, please? Dr. Shanti Rani, she's a professor and HOD, Department of Obstetric and Gynecology, Government A&E Medical College and Hospital. She's a president of Obstetric Gynecological Society, A&E. She's a South Zone Coordinator, Medical Disorders Pregnancy Committee, FOXY, Best Doctor IMA, Best Service Provider Award for PPIUCD and Lab Sterilization, and a special interest is high-risk obstetric. Welcome, Shanti Rani madam, and I request you to take over the session, madam, to introduce the speakers.
Shanti madam, first you can introduce Vidya madam.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, Rajeshri ma'am, for your kind words. And thank you, Madam Sampath madam and Anjalakshmi madam for giving me the opportunity to be the part of this important CME on Pocso. And it's my great privilege to introduce Dr. Vidya Reddy. Madam is the Executive Director of Tullir, a Center for Prevention and Healing of Child Sexual Abuse, a non-profit NGO based in Chennai since 2005. And the Governing Board of Childline India Foundation, the largest child helpline in the world, and a nodal child protection agency of the Union Ministry of Women and Child Development. and she is the expert member of various consultative and advisory committees on child protection internationally, national and state level. Madam work was recognized notably by International Society for Prevention of Child Abuse and Neglect and Women's World Summit Foundations, Geneva, Switzerland. In 2015, Tulir was one of the 3 organizations selected for Google India Child Protection Awards. Really honored to have you with your noble profession, madam. Really, we are honored to have you, and I request you to deliver your talk.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm just sharing the screen. Can you all see it?
Yeah, madam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Shanti, for all those nice things you said about me, but I don't know after I finish my presentation whether you will still look at me so kindly, because I am going to be talking about the experiences of child victims who are engaging with the healthcare system, child victims of Pocso. I've written a small background of this in the newsletter, but I will still continue, explaining what I meant in the newsletter.
Vidya, madam, 1 minute.
Yeah.
See, all of you, this madam is doing lot of work with Pocso. In many of the institute, when the victim is brought, most of the time the treatment is not given at appropriate time. So only I called madam to give her view, because she is in the field for more than a decade, 10 years. So it is not, her talk or whatever message is just for an information. It is nothing to mistake anyone. Okay, thank you. Vidya madam, you can proceed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sampath Kumari. In fact, I should also share with you all that every time I'm in a crisis, I call Dr. Sampath Kumari and say, this hospital is not doing the MTP. This hospital is not giving the child a bed, even though she's going on the verge of delivery. And Dr. Sampath Kumari so kindly comes to our rescue each time. So I think she also wanted me to spread the issues I have with everyone, so she doesn't get bombarded with calls like I always call.
No,
So
it is available. It will be available in the YouTube also, madam. So it will be recorded and it will be available in YouTube. It will be very useful to everyone. Thank you.
So the issues with Pocso we have are, how does a child present to you all? So before that, I would like to talk about the fact that what you all are seeing is just a minuscule amount of cases. The actual number of cases never get reported. So in the whole of Tamil Nadu, for instance, from 2012 when Pocso started, there have only been 17,000 and odd reported cases to the police. So, and if you look at the national study on child abuse survey, which was done by the Ministry of WCD, Women and Child Development, in 2007, April, they said 1 in 2 children are reporting some form of sexual abuse. So India's child population alone is 42 million. It's 420 million, I'm sorry, 42%. Of that, if we are only seeing about 17,000 cases in Tamil Nadu, and even if you multiply that into all the states of India, we are not seeing more than a lakh or so of cases. So I think we need to be aware that we are only seeing cases which, I'm so sorry, 1 minute. We are only seeing cases which come to us because of a situation or injury. So we are seeing the tip of the iceberg. Now, how does a case present to the healthcare settings? Obviously, in an obvious situation, the child perhaps will come pregnant, or the child will come for some sort of treatment related to a sexual abuse situation. This was an RTI which was filed way back in 2018, when we asked about STD cases in the STI clinics of Tamil Nadu. And in all these cases, the child was only treated in terms of the physical symptoms and sent back. No investigation was done as to how a child could get an STD. You know, I can understand a few of them could be congenital or whatever, or passed on. But then how can children get STDs and you only treat the symptoms and send the child back? And then there are times when children come with some other problem, but then in the course of the treatment of that problem, you will also find that the child was sexually assaulted. Now, the problem has been compounded by the fact in Pocso, anybody is a mandatory reporter. And if you do not, especially doctors, if you do not report it, you are liable for imprisonment and fine. So that keeps us in a it's a very difficult conundrum to be in. Is your patient's interests and a child's interest what you keep in mind foremost, or is it your obligation to the law which you keep foremost? So this is a very, very difficult situation. So we are very grateful that about 2 months ago, in fact, the government passed a GO saying that any child who comes over the age of 18 for an MTP or a delivery will not be reported to the police. And I will tell you the genesis of why this came to be. Many overzealous, morally righteous people in our society would go to hospitals and say, oh, the child has come for delivery at 18 years, 3 months. Oh, the child has come for an MTP when she's 18 years, 1 month. That means she had sex before she was 18. So let's file a case. Which is it in the best interest of the child then to file a case? So very correctly, the government has passed an order 2 months ago, which very clearly says that anybody comes over 18, you only look at it as over 18 case. You don't go and count back into the number of days before that the child got pregnant. So I think that's very important to understand. We also need to understand that the government of Tamil Nadu was the first state in the whole of India in 2014 to adopt the medico-legal guidelines for sexual assault examination in toto. There was no deviation from this. However, it is very painful for us to see that many hospitals across Tamil Nadu are still following the old forms for medical examination, which Dr. Selvakumar will speak about soon. And in the 2014 GO 201, in fact, they only talked about government hospitals. And when we brought it to the health department's notice, in 2015 April, they passed another GO 171 in addendum to 201, saying that this GO covers private and public hospitals. So I would like to keep you all informed about that. Now, let me tell you from the point of view from a person who goes to the hospitals what our problems are. And I'm going to talk about very real cases. So I'm sorry, I don't intend to provoke or to offend or to ruffle feathers, but I will only talk to you about experiences which we are encountering. Starting with 1. So without naming the district, I will tell you about a case which was reported to a government hospital on April, the last week of April 27th, if I'm not mistaken. This was a young girl who had been married off against her will. And from the time she was married in December, she was beaten every day by her in-laws and her husband. She even miscarried the first pregnancy because of the beating. She got pregnant again, and that's when she called up Childline. And she said, please rescue me. I don't want to be in this marriage. I don't want this baby too. So she was rescued. And then she was produced before the Child Welfare Committee, which is a statutory body of the child protection system. She also said, I don't want the baby. So the CWC, who then takes custody of her because she's a child in need of care and protection, says, okay, we give you permission to please approach the hospitals for a termination. This was in the last week of April. Till yesterday night, the termination did not happen. And this was not because she was anemic or she had other health problems. I'm just giving you all an idea of what it is like, how harrowing it is for all of us who are accompanying this child, who go to the hospital, asked to get tests, not given a bed, told to come back after some other time, when every day counts for an MTP. Then yesterday, I had to call certain people higher up in the education health department, and we managed to, the child was admitted today for an MTP. And this is happening very regularly. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but this happens quite regularly. Now, let me tell you about another case which happened in another district of Tamil Nadu. So the child was staying with her Perima because the school was close by and she stays someplace away. The Perima's son, 28-year-old man, who is married. Ilenga, the slides are not moving.
Okay,
I am just telling you, I'm recounting.
Okay. No.
I'm recounting this for you all. So in the Perima's son, 28 years old and married with 2 children, decided that he also has an interest in his cousin sister who was all of 15. And so he starts having sexual relations with her and gets her pregnant. This was in October last year. When she missed her period in the first month, the mother took her to a hospital. And the hospital immediately, and this is what happens all the time, and this is something which I would like to impress upon you all. Please, considering children are maturing very early now, as early as 10 years old, when somebody comes to you saying they've missed a period, please do not just assume it's anemia. Or please just do not assume when they come saying stomachache that it's just some stomach problem. Please do a pregnancy screening. So when the mother took her for the hospital to the first time, they of course said anemia, and saying that she missed her period. They said anemia, gave her some tablets and sent her off. Then after 4 months, she still had not got her period. So her mother again took her to the hospital. By that time, they discovered she was 6 months pregnant. Then she's referred to another hospital for termination. That hospital says she's very anemic, etc. Cannot do. I think basically they were very scared of saying 6 months, almost 6 months, even though the MTP Act says up to 6 months you can do with 2 doctors' opinion, saying that almost 6 months, if anything goes wrong, they will be, the responsibility will be theirs. They send her back home. This is a family which is dealing with the stigma of their own relative impregnating a young 15-year-old girl. And this is the kind of response we have. I also want to tell you a very important aspect about MTPs is the fact that no explanation, no counseling is given to the child and the family about what is going to happen next. I'm sorry for sounding so negative, but this is the reality of the situation. That, we as a whole, I mean, y'all are doctors, y'all, I know that we are all lay people. We don't fully understand a lot of the terms you'll use. We do not understand the full health, the medical aspects. But we also have a mind and we have a heart. And we need to be explained to, especially if I'm a young girl coming for her NTP or deciding to keep her baby, we need to have somebody who's empathetic enough who will explain to us what is happening. Not just treat us as a body, but please remember we have a heart and a soul and a brain as well. So that's very, very important. The other issue we are having is that when we are coming for examinations, most of the time, and I can assure you in Chennai, this is all the time, at least with my cases, we are examined in the labor wards of hospitals. The labor wards of hospitals, as all of you know, are extremely busy places. All of you are very harried dealing with all these cases. And then you have this young child sitting there waiting for a medical examination. It can be an extremely unnerving experience. In fact, there was one case where we had to literally stand around the child we had taken because there was a girl lady in the next, literally delivering in the next bed. So as you can well understand, these are not very comfortable situations to be in. In fact, when I was before this presentation, I was asking my colleagues across Tamil Nadu what are the other issues they have. One of them even said, just because this young girl comes pregnant, the way of punishing her, it seems like, is that they just keep her waiting for a bed. And in some occasions, and I can assure you if this happened to one of our cases, they even made her sleep on the floor. Which is, I mean, I agreed. 14 and 15-year-olds pregnant, even I find kind of difficult to accept. But the point is they're there. The least we can do is, give them the best of care possible. The other part of the whole thing is when we come for an examination, the police themselves are a clueless bunch. Please, they all are, I can't even tell you that in the last, just before this presentation, I was dealing with a case, which all of you I'm sure read about in the paper today, of these 4 boys who have been arrested, all 13-year-olds, who've been arrested because they're supposed to have sexually assaulted their classmate. The truth and the reality of the whole situation was one of the boys and one of the girls were, I don't know how you can say that they were in a relationship. Anyway, they seemed to have some romantic feelings towards each other, both of them 13-year-olds. They were all doing group study and this girl and this boy were sitting together hand in hand. And they were all arrested for sexual assault. The police have beaten them up. The boys are sitting in the observation home. So till 15 minutes before this presentation, we were trying to move bail for them. Now, in these kind of cases, when this girl is sent to a children's home, she is sent automatically for a medical examination as per the Juvenile Justice Act. We have known of instances when the girl is sent for a medical examination, she is not even told what they're examining for. This is a general medical examination. This is not for sexual abuse at all. If for sexual abuse, the police will bring a requisition. but this is for a general examination. But even sometimes, and I will talk to the concerned doctor after this presentation because I do not want to mention the name of the district or the hospital. Sometimes when the girl is pregnant, even though she has not been sent for an MTP, but she has only been sent for a general medical examination because she's being admitted into the reception home, the doctors, because of the parents' pressure and the police's pressure, will do an MTP even though she's under the CWC custody. If anything goes wrong in that hospital, that CWC is responsible, but they are not informed. As the CWC members told me, we send the girl for a general examination because she's in the children's home, and we know she's pregnant, but she has decided she will go through with the pregnancy. But in the hospital, we have no idea what has happened. The police and the other people around, the parents, influence the child. And sometimes, I'm sorry to say, even doctors paint a very nasty picture to the child. And the child then is just very often, the child then MTP is done without the child knowing about it. And the child comes back to the children's home without a pregnancy. Please understand the legal ramifications of this. If the CWC is in custody of the child and it is being done without their approval, anything happens in the hospital, they are the ones going to be held responsible. I think this is something very important to know. Medical examinations are done without consent. Please understand, under the new medical legal sexual assault guidelines, consent has to be got at 3 points and before each of the sections happen, not afterwards as a routine procedure. At the time of examination, consent has to be sought if the child is over 12 years old. If the time of treatment, consent has to be sought. At the time of collection of evidence, consent has to be sought. In most of our cases, I can tell you, the consent is never sought. The paper, the examination form is never even signed. And if at all it is signed as a routine procedure after everything is over. There is no explanation for the young teenager involved as to what is being happening. And please understand, in sexual assault cases where there has been violence, where this has not been consensual sex, where there has been violence, a medical examination can be like the primary abuse. I think this is something very important to understand. As I said, I don't want to paint a negative picture, but this is it. So when children are brought to the medical examination with the police, with the requisition slip, on an average, the child is made, and I went through all our cases before today's presentation to try and come to an average. On an average, the child is made to wait for at least 6 hours in the hospital before the examination is done. This is not this. I would strongly suggest we follow what the judicial magistrates do for a 164 statement, where they were. I know you'll are busy, but I do not see any reason why only somebody tending to the labor ward should examine this child. I think in a maternity hospital where everybody is OBGYN, I would assume, there must be other doctors who can examine this child. So is it not possible for the child to be told to come at a certain time instead of sitting there from 9 in the morning till 5 in the evening waiting for an examination, and that too outside the labor ward? I think this is something very, very important to understand. And I would really, and the other thing is, after a medical examination, please understand, as per the new guidelines, the child is entitled to a copy of their medical report. Very rarely is it given. Very rarely is it given. So they don't even know what the report says. Then about the 2-finger test. Even 2 weeks ago, the Madurai High Court has come down heavily against the 2-finger test. I can show you all any number of ML reports which we have received from across Tamil Nadu, which talk about the 2-finger test, which make remarks about the hymen. This was all earlier in the past. Under the new guidelines, this cannot be done, but it is being done. And I cannot reiterate this more than this, as to say that please, please understand that this is not reflective of the situation. That's something really, really important to understand. That as far as possible, do not examine in the labor ward. As far as possible, do not expect the child to wait for long hours in the station. 2-finger test and the hymen need not be mentioned. And as far as MTPs are concerned, please understand, and this is again across the districts, in the last, without again naming districts, in the last 1 year, there is one particular district which has 35 times asked for a court order when they did not need a court order for an MTP. And every day counts for these cases. So please, I think it's very important to be aware of these things. Ma'am, Dr. Rajni, how many more minutes do I have? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
How many
5
more?
minutes, ma'am. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. So I would like to actually, this is the guidelines I was talking to you all about, which has been issued by the Health and Family Welfare, and in Tamil Nadu has taken it by GO 121 in 2014. Another very important thing I want to tell you all is about intake. Very often, before starting an intake from the child, please ask the police what is the background, or please ask the accompanying support person or parent what is the background. On an average, we recently had a case in the first week of March. That child has repeated her story 17 times. She spoke for about 12 times to the police. Then she spoke about 4 times in the hospital. Then she spoke about 2 times in the CWC. Then finally, the 17th time was in court for her 164 statement. So as far as possible, try and acquaint yourselves with the background to the case instead of constantly asking the child again what happened. And the intake, please understand, I think it's very important. I know you all are busy. I know you all are incredibly busy. But please spend some time. This is a child who is just being swept up in a situation. As I said, one is the pregnancy may not have been discovered till very late. So they're coming there literally after 6 months, they're coming there in terms of a delivery. One is that the child may have been having sexual relations with someone consensually, maybe a boyfriend or somebody, but she didn't know that she was pregnant. And then she comes there saying stomachache as always, and then pregnancy is discovered. Sometimes she may have been abused. In Tanjavur, there is a case of a 17-year-old girl who says she was raped by a 10-year-old. Now you tell me, what is the power differential between a 17-year-old and a 10-year-old? Anyway, and she came in 9 months. Parents say they did not know that she was pregnant. I cannot understand this at all. And this is another phenomenon I wish to discuss with you all. Families do not seem to have a clue about menstruation. Many families have told us when the child missed her period, oh, that is but natural. In the first year, it only comes 3 times. In the second year, it only comes 6 times. And I'm just sitting there with my mouth open, listening to this. And nobody's even keeping track of whether children keep their periods. I don't know. I grew up in a time till I started college. I had to mark on the calendar when I got my periods. And, I'm sure my mother kept track of that. So this is one issue we are facing. When a child misses her periods, at the time of delivery too, 6 months, 7 months, doesn't a child show? I just cannot seem to understand this. So anyway, intake is very, very important. Please spend some time with a child who is obviously very traumatized by what is happening. Whether there was violence used in the sexual assaults history or whether or not there was violence used, it's still a whole new alien setting for this child, dealing with the police, dealing with the hospitals, dealing with a family who's constantly probably in a great state of, heightened state of distress themselves. So I think it's really, really important to be, and the Pocso Act allows for a support person. Please make use of this facility of having a support person along with the child to sit and calm the temperatures down, to try and bring them down to some sort of equilibrium. I think that is very, very important. The IMA, in fact, just to give you all an idea.
Yeah, ma'am. 2 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The Indian Medical Association, in fact, in 2014, along with UNICEF, came up with a book on child sexual abuse. I don't know whether you're aware of that. And I would like to leave you all with this last saying from a doctor, in fact, which I always end my presentations for hospitals, for doctors with this. One sec. Just a minute. Oh, my thing is not responding. So I don't know whether we're allowed question and answers now or whether we're going to do with question and answers later. How is it working, ma'am? What's the format?
Let Dr. Jitendra Sharma finish, madam. We will take the
Oh, take it. Okay. So I would just like to leave you all with this last slide. Imagine a childhood disease that affects 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 7 boys before they reach 18. A disease that can cause dramatic mood swings, erratic behavior, and even severe conduct disorders among those exposed. A disease that breeds distrust of adults and undermines the possibility of experiencing normal sexual relationships. A disease that can have profound implications for an individual's future health by increasing the risk of problems such as substance abuse, STDs, and suicidal behavior. A disease that replicates itself by causing some of its victims to expose future generations to its debilitating effects. Imagine what we as a society would do if such a disease existed. We would spare no expense. We would invest heavily in basic and applied research. We would devise systems to identify those affected and provide services to treat them. We would develop and broadly implement prevention campaigns to protect our children. Wouldn't we? Such a disease does exist. It's called child sexual abuse. Our response, however, has been far from the full court press reserved for traditional diseases or health concerns of equal or even lesser magnitude. Perhaps the perception of sexual abuse as a law enforcement problem or our discomfort in confronting sexual issues contributes to our complacency. Whatever the reason, we have severely underestimated the effects of this problem on our children's health and quality of life. And I would like to add here, when I talk about children, I'm not talking about only girls. I am talking about girls and boys, because every study in India which has been done has said that boys reported as much abuse as girls. And this is from no less than Dr. James Mercy, who was a researcher with the Center for Disease Control. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Fantastic.
Thank you for sharing your heart, your thoughts, and your all the pains, because you are in long term in this Tullir. Rightly pointed out the lapses in our responsibility, especially in both government and private sectors. Really, we are scared. Really, when you are seeing this case, we have to spend more time. We have to take so many consents, so many legal problems we have to face. Thank you, madam. Because questions are reserved for after the session. I think we'll have the questions later. Madam, you want to comment on that?
No, nothing. So,
Okay.
madam's one request is treatment should be given to adolescent as early as possible.
Yeah,
Don't
to
bother
get a
about-
consent for each and every step. A written consent should be taken. The patient should be counseled, and the child welfare people should be informed regarding prior counseling should be
We'll have
given
that
prior to
discussion
medical
later.
termination of pregnancy.
After
Yeah,
Jitendra's,
yeah, madam. We'll have question session, madam. So I think we'll move on to next. Sir is available.
Yes,
Sir.
he is there. Dr.
Yes,
Sir,
madam.
Jitendra sir.
Yes, sir. Is
Yes,
available.
madam.
Welcome, sir.
Very good evening. Very good evening, sir. Madam,
Good evening.
Rajeshri, madam, can you? Yeah. It's a great privilege to introduce Dr. Jitendra Sharma, sir. He's a practicing OBGYN in Ahmedabad for 30 years, MD in OBGYN and medical legal counselor. He has done his LLB with 15 gold medals, topped Gujarat University Law, and is the author of books Law in OBGYN Practice, Concerns in OBGYN, and Laws a Doctor Must Know. Given more than 1,600 lectures all over India, which includes 12 orations. As the Vice President-elect Pocso 2022 and Chairperson of Ethics and Medical Legal Committee of Pocso in the year of 2017 to 19, President Ahmedabad OBGYN 2016 to 17, hosted AICOG in 2017 Jan, and Joint Secretary of SOGOG from 2017 to 19. Sir is a medical legal consultant to 120 corporate hospitals all over India. Had vast experience in the medical legal audit. I request you to deliver your talk, sir. You are a very apt person. What gynecologists should know about Pocso Act.
So, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
And, can I share my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, Chitrakala. That is now in Delhi, I think. Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. And at the outset, I would like to thank TNFOG for inviting me for this lecture. In specific, Anjalakshi ma'am, Sampat Kumari ma'am, and Vijaya Lakshmi ma'am, and whole team. See, basically, I am traveling from Delhi to Chandigarh just now, and I am on hotspot. So maybe if some interruption will be there. Actually, that was the love and respect for Sampat Kumari ma'am, to whom I could not refuse, because uh, she told me that you have to come to Tamil Nadu to deliver the lecture on Pocso. After hearing Vidya Reddy ma'am, I can say that she has given her own experience of handling the cases of child abuse. So my topic today is how much gynecologists should know about the Pocso Act. Okay. So the protection that Pocso Act means it is the Protection of Children from Sexual Offense Act
Sir,
2000.
can you go to slideshow?
Just a minute.
Yes.
Okay. So it extends to whole of India after 2019. So previously it was not applicable in Jammu and Kashmir, but after this removal of 370, now it is also applicable in Jammu and Kashmir. Now what we are supposed to know in Pocso Act? See, we are supposed to know only a few part of Pocso Act. Other part is related to advocacy and the legal person. So we must know what is the meaning of child. So child means any person below the age of 18 years, whether it is male, female, or anything else. So anybody who is below 18 years of age is considered as child under this Pocso Act. We should know certain things, certain definitions which are there in Pocso Act. Particularly, we should know what is penetrative sexual assault, what is aggravated penetrating sexual assault, what is sexual assault, what is aggravated sexual assault. So everything we are supposed to know. So penetrating, as the word itself indicates, that there must be some amount of penetration in the body. So penetration of penis or any instrument or any body part inside the vagina or inside the mouth, urethra, or anus of a child, that amounts to penetrating sexual assault. I am not going into detail about the punishment of penetrating this assault, which is given in sections 4. Now, when this act is done by the police person, when person is under his or her custody, or by any public servant, or by any person who is in charge as a manager or in the management, or if sexual assault is done in hospital or any educational or religious institution, or if any deadly weapon is used, or if grievous hurt or death is caused, then it amounts to aggravated sexual.
So sorry, sir, your slides are not seen, sir. It's not moving. It's in the first slide.
So again, when the child is mentally or physically challenged, or repetitive act is done, or the accused is near relative living in the same house, and if the child is below 12 years, or a sexual act is done after knowing that child is pregnant, or if it is a case of gang rape, these are all different, or to force the child to go for naked parade, these are all the aggravated sexual assaults. Now section 7 defines that what is sexual assault. So whoever with sexual intent even touches the vagina, penis, anus, or breast of the child, or make the child touch the vagina, penis, anus, or breast of such person or any other person, that amounts to sexual assault. So even touching is also amounting to sexual assault, and the punishment for the same is a little less, that is the less than 3 years, not less than 3 years. So, and
Excuse
it
me,
may
sir.
extend up to
Sir?
5 years. Yes,
Sir,
ma'am.
your slides are not moving, sir. We are not able to see. It's in the first slide itself, sir.
Okay.
Rakala, Kala?
Just a
Yes,
minute,
ma'am.
I am trying, madam.
Sir, the slides move alima.
Sir, can you please stop share and share again because we can see only the first slide, sir.
Can you see now?
No, sir, your slides are not shared, sir.
Okay. So actually, we
Then
don't
what
need
shared,
actually
sir?
this slide.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Hello.
Okay, sir, you proceed, sir. If it is not coming, no problem. You proceed.
So I am not actually. I don't want slides even to speak. Okay. Now,
No problem.
second thing, yeah, second thing we should know that according to section 19 of this Pocso Act, 19 subsection 1, it is the duty of the treating doctor who has received an knowledge that if any crime is going to be done or of sexual assault against some child, or if he has knowledge that some sexual assault has been done against some child below 18 years of age, it is the duty of doctor and hospital to inform police. So that is section 19 subsection 1. And immediately in section 19 subsection 2, it is mentioned that it is the duty of police to register. So many of our gynecologists used to say that we sent the message to the police, but they were not ready to take. But now, according to this act, according to section 19 subsection 2, it is the duty of police officer to register, and he has to read as an information to the complainant, and he is also to give one copy of that complaint person, and immediately he has to start action. He has to note down in the day, and he has to inform child welfare committee and the juvenile courts within 24 hours of the acknowledgement. So basically, it is a duty of police also to note down whatever is informed by the doctor or the hospital. Now, according to section 21, it is said that if some person who has knowledge of such sexual assault against abuse, which is under section 3, 5, 7, and 9, and does not inform police or juvenile police or specific court which are there, then there is provision of up to 6 months imprisonment for the same. You will surprised to know that whatever is there in section 19 subsection 1, it is also a duty of police to record. So if police does not record, then police is also held responsible under this section 21, and there is provision that even police can be punished for 6 months imprisonment for not noting down. So this we should keep in mind. Other practical things, madam has already discussed that what is the importance of written consent. Then whenever a child is taken to you for examination, then it is preferred that female gynecologist should check. If the child is female, then one female attendant should remain present, and if guardians are there, guardians should be kept present at the time of examination. And if guardians are not there, then one of the female person from your staff member should remain present during examination. So these are the things which we should keep in mind. Then one more thing we should keep in mind, that according to section 41, it is said that whenever any of the act which is according to section 3, 5, 7, and 9 are considered as sexual assault or penetrating sexual assault, if they are done by the doctor itself while doing examination of the patient with the consent of guardian, then it is not considered as crime. Okay, so doctor has immunity. If the examination is done by the doctor with the consent of guardian, then it is not considered as a violation of section 3, 5, 7, and 9 by the doctor. One more thing we should know, that this particular act, Pocso Act, has the overriding effect. And what is the meaning of overriding effect? This is a specific act, and this is over and above all other acts. For example, I am giving that in Indian Penal Code, there in section 376, there is one exception which mentions that if a lady is married in between 16 to 18 years, and if she does any kind of sexual intercourse with her husband or with anybody with consent, that cannot be considered as rape in Indian Penal Code as per exception in section 376. But as in Pocso, it is an overriding effect. It is a specific act. So there is provision in Pocso that every patient, every accused, victim below 18 years, even if you have relationship with consent, that is also falling under the definition of rape. So although there are exception in IPC, but this particular act has overriding effect, and that's why the Pocso will be applicable in such act. So as per the definition in Pocso, every child below 18 years is considered minor against child years of age. If you know this, then as a gynecologist, that is more than enough. And other this legal aspect, I am not going to discuss that what should be done in a specific kind of courts, how they will handle the case in the court, whether it should be done under videography, or what kind of facilities should be given to the child, what should be the prerogative given or immunity given to the child, that again and again same questions are never to be asked. Then he should be in isolation, he should never face the accused while in the court. So all these precautions and privileges are given to the child. Child may not be called in the court to take the statement, but the police person should go to the home of the child to take the statement in a familial environment, and the police should be preferably lady, and that lady also should go for taking statement without uniform. So she should not go for taking statement in the police uniform. So there are so many things which are there in Pocso Act which we should keep in our mind. But if being a gynecologist, you know this much, that is more than enough. So thank you very much once again, Dr. Sampath Kumari Madam in specific, for giving me this opportunity to share with you that what a gynecologist should know under Pocso Act. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. In spite of your busy schedule and all, you spared your valuable time for us. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Madam, any questions we can ask
Any
for?
questions now? Because he is
No,
on
I
travel.
don't see any questions in the chat box, madam.
Can we ask, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yes, delegates,
You can
any
ask.
questions now itself you can ask. He is on travel.
To sir, thank you so much for that elaborate discussion, sir.
Sumati,
As a
mention your
gynecologist,
name.
sir, I'm Dr. Sumati from Chennai.
Yes.
And I have a question for this. We had a meeting last week, and there were a lot of questions coming up on this particular issue. The Pocso Act actually defines sex below 18 years as an offense.
See,
So-
anybody who is below 18 years, if any sexual assault is done on that person, that amounts to be informed to police under Pocso Act.
Suppose a woman comes to us, a girl comes to us around 16 years of age. She is knowledgeable. We are living in metros. So they know that they will get probably pregnant. So they are, some people don't even tell us whether they are in a live-in relationship or what, whether they are having multiple sexual partners, whether they are being abused. They request us for contraception. From the legal point of view, do we have a problem in prescription?
Not at all. Madam, the reason is that it is clearly mentioned in section 41 that whatever is done by the doctor while doing treatment or examination of a patient, okay, as a patient, with the permission of guardian, with the consent of guardian, you have immunity. So prescribing contraception does not amount to violation of any or doing any kind of sexual assault, and you cannot be held responsible.
So what
for
I'm
this.
asking is, it is not a assault, but is it not that you are encouraging the person to go ahead with a sexual act, which is probably not good for her?
No, madam,
Will you be protected?
giving education with the permission of guardian does not amount to encouraging the sexual act.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
But if you don't mind me jumping in, this is Vidya here.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Dr. Patel, the thing is, most of these teenagers will never go and see a doctor for contraception with their guardians. They will go on their own. But I still agree. Yeah, but I will agree with you that educating people is very important. So just because somebody asks for contraception advice doesn't mean that they are going to commit an act of sex or have any sexual relations. So I think that's very important to understand. Buying something from a counter in a pharmacy is very different from using that to actually do something. So I think very safely you can prescribe contraception. And I'm saying this because, please, I'm sure you'll know this as much better than I do. We have a very active teenage group across India having sexual relations. That is the given fact. As much as we don't want to face the reality, it is a fact. The number of teenage pregnancies which could have been avoided if they knew about contraception or had access to contraception would have itself been great if we were able to do this.
Madam, I will like to add one thing here, that here the word used is guardian, not the legal guardian. So guardian may not be father or mother. So suppose
correct.
you are educating school children, okay, school students with the permission of principal. So principal here is a guardian, acts as a guardian, and the permission of principal, that means that you are, whatever you are sharing with the patient or the students is with the permission of guardian. That means principal as a guardian. So you cannot be held liable for the same.
Thank you.
Madam,
Thank you.
Madam, I'm having one question for Vidya ma'am. Madam mentioned about that when you are examining, is there a need to mention about the hymen intact or not?
Not at all, ma'am. Not at all. You're not
No,
supposed to make any
Shanti
remarks
Rani.
about the hymen.
No,
Not supposed to
Shanti
make
Rani.
any remarks about the hymen.
Madam, when people are going to the court, they are asking only three questions. Have you examined about that hymen? They are asking one question regarding this hymen.
No,
So for that,
ma'am,
for that-
Dr. Shanti, I think it's high time we educate the judges. The judges are quite clueless about lots of things.
Yeah,
So I think
they
we
will-
have to educate them.
they will ask only three questions, madam. Actually, in Tamil, அது கன்னித்திரை தெளிந்துள்ளதா இல்லையா அது ஒரு கொஸ்டின் மேடம். அப்புறம் வெதர் she had a chance, அதாவது தமிழ்ல வந்து என்னென்ன அது இன்டர்கோர்ஸ் வாய்ப்பு இருந்ததா இல்லையா, செகண்ட் கொஸ்டின். அந்த ரெண்டு கொஸ்டின் வந்து I think the panelists are all government sector doctors, so they will be regularly there. Today only I have asked about my assistant professor what questions they will ask in the court regarding this and that, and then they ask the first question is this regarding this, so that a madam mentioned about that. So I think the panelists will have their doubts and all, they clear it out.
Jitendra sir, what she told is, Jitendra sir,
yes sir,
Shanti madam, what she told is the court is asking whether hymen intact or not. Second question is whether she had intercourse or not. These two questions
so, madam,
are asked.
presence or absence of hymen does not prove that penetration has happened or not. So,
that question is also being asked in court by the accused lawyer. Whether this can happen
that's why two-finger test is been removed.
Yeah, that we know. But regarding by inspection, whether you have to mention about that or not, because that question is frequently asked by lawyers in the court. Madam, I think the panel
for attracting this penal liability for sexual assault and penetrating sexual assault, even penetration is not important or not required to be proved. So there is no role whether hymen is ruptured or not.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. Thank you, Vidya ma'am. Thank you, sir. Jitendra sir. Thank you. you for that.
Yes, there is one
Wonderful.
question. Can we give MMA kit to unmarried girl early pregnancy with consent? Is it necessary to inform police? If it is
No
less
need,
than
it can be
18, no, no,
given.
no. No, if it is less than 18 years, you have to inform police and then you can give. If she is less than 18 years, am I correct, sir? Jitendra, sir?
Madam, whenever you receive any patient who is below 18 years and if she is found pregnant, then you have to be careful. 4 things are to be done. First, whenever you are in doubt, ask for the age proof, Aadhaar card or school leaving certificate, like that. Second thing, that if she is below 18 years as per age proof, so you are supposed to mention the date of sexual act. So suppose today she is 18 years and 1 month as per ID proof, but suppose she is 3 months pregnant. So actually the act of sexual assault was done when she was 17 years and 10 months. So you have to count it, and if it is below when the sexual act happened, if she is below 18 years, it is your duty to inform police. Third thing, that with the consent of guardian. Now guardian does not mean husband, father and mother. Guardian means even boyfriend who is above 18 years can become guardian. So with the permission of guardian who is above 18 years of age, you can terminate the pregnancy definitely. But whatever the conception, product of conception you have gathered, you have to put it in normal saline, and you should keep it with you for 72 hours, and you should inform police to take this material, the conception material, for further evidence or further
Thank
search
you, sir.
procedures.
Thank
So
you.
these are the 4 things you should keep in mind.
Rashri can go. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jitendra, sir. Thank you, Vidya, madam, and thank you, Shanti Rani, madam.
Thank you.
We will now move on to the next session. That will be a panel discussion. And introducing the moderator, sir, welcome, sir. Dr. MC Patel, as Anjilakshi madam already said, you're every time available to us. He's a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist and medical legal counselor, Vice President Foxy 2018, Organizing Secretary AICOG 2017, Chairperson Ethics and Medical Legal Committee Foxy 2011-2013, Honorary Joint Secretary State Organization of Gynecologists and Obstetricians of Gujarat 2019-2022, Honorary Secretary Elect State Organization of Gynecologists and Obstetricians of Gujarat 2022-24, Organizing Chairperson MMCon 2018, Honorary Member National Inspection and Monitoring Committee PNDT Act Government of India 2015, Honorary Member State Supervisory Board PNDT Committee Gujarat State 2005 to 2009, President Ahmedabad Obstetrician Gynecological Society, Honorary Member National Managing Body Indian Red Cross Society 2019-2022, National President National Medicos Organization 2016-2018, President IMA Ahmedabad Branch 2007 to 2008, Honorary Surgeon Indian Red Cross Eye Bank collected more than 1,000 eye pairs, Organizing Chairperson Vivekanand NMO Con 2013, and President Lions Club Ahmedabad 1997-98. We are honored to have you, sir, as the moderator of the session. Can we have the slides of the panelists? Welcome Dr. Manonmani, madam. She's a professor in HOD, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Coimbatore Medical College. And she's been in service Tamil Nadu government for 25 years. She is a COGS Managing Committee member 2017-19. She's co-chairperson Yuva Foxy 2019. Present Vice President of COGS and District MPP Committee. Can we have the next slide, please? Welcome, madam. Dr. Kameshwari. She is a professor in government senior assistant professor in Government Pini Medical College, and she's presented papers in UR Foxy. Next slide, please. Dr. S. Anuratna. She's in charge Chief Medical Officer, Government Hospital Ponneri, Tiruvallur District. She's done over 5,000 surgeries, and she's a state trainer for adolescent health in Tamil Nadu. She has received several awards, including Urani Foundation Working Women's Award in March 2022. Can I have the next slide, please? Dr. Vivek Mali is a consultant and director of Cardiology Hospital, Chennai. and he is advisory committee member Oxy. Next slide, please. Dr. Sumati Premanan, she is the medical director, Darshan Fertility and Women's Medical Center, Chennai, and she is executive committee member Oxy. Can we have the next slide, please? Dr. Suhasini Karnal, she is currently working as assistant professor in Sri Muthukumaran Medical College, Chennai. Next slide, please. So I hand over to you, request Patel sir to take over the session.
Patel sir, welcome.
Oh,
Dr.
yes,
Manonmani
thank you.
is not there, sir. She is having some meeting. Welcome, sir.
Yes. So just now I am at Kannur, Kerala,
Oh.
in a conference of all Kerala Federation conference. So, but Sampath Kumari has requested me to moderate this panel, and just Dr. Gitendra said, it is love and affection of Sampath Kumari to us. We cannot resist to say no. So,
Thank you, sir.
so I am here, and we will conduct very interesting panel. Greetings from Statue of Unity, tallest statue of world, and we all are proud of that. So today we are going to discuss about Pocso Act, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012 and Amendment Act 2019, and we will discuss case-based and some important issues. So warm welcome all the delegates and wishing you a litigation-free practice. At the outset, I would like to thank organizer of Tnfog conference and Dr. Sampath Kumari in particular, because she has given me an opportunity to meet so many of our friends, and all these panelists, most of the panelists had been faculty in my series of Happy Learning Masterclass. So again, it will be my pleasure to meet them on virtual platform again. So welcome Dr. Manonmani Madam, Dr. Kameshwari Madam, Dr. Anuratna Madam, Dr. Vivek Madi, Dr. Sumati Premanand, and Dr. Subhasini Madam in this panel. I never learned from someone who agreed with me, and if two people agree on everything, then one of them is not required. But as far as today's panel is concerned, all our panelists not necessarily will agree with each other. So usually I start any of my panel with this question: is it worth discussing Pocso Act? Any panelist can take.
So?
Yes, sexual offenses are increasing, definitely, and especially the previous IPC doesn't mention about offense against male children. Therefore, that also has to be has made a crime in this Pocso, and reporting has become mandatory, and this is one of the highlighting features. And the fourth point, which is very good about Pocso, is to ensure that the whole procedure is child-friendly. From the registration as under 161 statement to 164 statement in the court, and all the proceedings in the court, and you have established a court for children itself, a Pocso court, and that is the important part of this act.
Yes, very nicely covered, and both of our previous speaker has also highlighted Pocso Act very much in detail. But let me share this statistic. This is statistic from Professional Protection Scheme, which is run by Indian Medical Association Gujarat State Branch. In 2017, total enrolled members were 11,979, and out of those, 2,359 friends were facing litigation in one way or other, either at district forum or state commission or national commission or Supreme Court or criminal cases or civil cases. And in last year only, total enrolled members 16,485, and out of those 3,113 friends were facing litigation in one way or other. So it simply means it comes to almost 18 to 20%. So it simply means every fifth medical person is facing litigation in one way or other. And as far as specialty wise concerned, we gynecologists rank first as far as medical legal problems are concerned. So we should be very aware of this. So protection of children from Sexual Offences Act 2012 and Amendment Act 2019, which was enacted in 2018. So one more question, very nicely taken by Dr. Vivek also, but what is the aim of Pocso Act? Why this act enacted in 2012?
Sir?
Yes.
This was basically to protect the children who are less than 18 years of age from sexual assault, sexual harassment, pornographic offenses, and to also provide them a child-friendly legal process. It made it a gender-neutral law too.
Good. So again, the same question, which child? We were covered by Dr. Gitendra, but again, which child as far as this Pocso Act is concerned?
Less than 18 years of age.
Yes. So any person below age of 18 years is considered child in eye of law as far as Pocso Act is concerned. And which gender it addresses?
Gender free.
Gender neutral.
Gender neutral.
Gender neutral.
So it is gender equal. So it addresses both male and female children. So which areas it addresses? Just we mentioned sexual harassment, sexual assault, aggravated form of sexual assault. So what is the meaning of aggravated form of sexual assault? And same way, penetrative sexual assault, aggravated form of penetrative sexual assault, and using child as a pornographic purpose. So what is here aggravated? Aggravated form as far as sexual assault and aggravated form of penetrative sexual assault is concerned.
Yeah.
And it will be considered as an aggravated form.
Aggravated is when it is done by a person who is in a position of authority. It may be a doctor, a policeman, a school teacher, or a public servant.
Yes. Good.
Because you are enforcing, you're coercing the
so
child.
under whose custody child is, and if child is abused, are arrested or assaulted or penetrative form of sexual assault, it will be considered as a aggravated form, and there is much more punishment in this type of situation. So what is sexual harassment? How sexual harassment can be defined?
It is sexual harassment is it's a non-contact form of sexual abuse. So it could be
in each
kind
and
of gesture,
every
gesture,
form.
word, verbal. It could be gesture, verbal, any form of threat sexually to coerce the person of sexual crime.
But in all this case here, word intent is very much important, because it is defined in section 11 of Pocso. When such person with sexual intent utters any word or makes any sound or makes any gesture or exhibits any object or a part of body with the intention that such word or sound shall be heard, or such gesture or object or part of body shall be seen by the child, or makes a child to exhibit his body or his part of his body and seen by such person or any other person, or shows any object to a child in any form or media for pornographic purpose. So need not to touch even. Then also in this type of situation, it becomes a case of sexual harassment. And it is long description, but let us go further. Then what is sexual assault?
Assault.
And Anuratna is also there.
Yes. Sexual assault.
Anybody can take.
Yeah, it is with any contact with sexual intent. There's an intent. That is the mens rea is there, and therefore of sexual abuse, the mens rea is there. Therefore, there is sexual abuse, sexual assault with sexual intent.
So with sexual intent touches vagina, penis, anus, breast of child, or makes the child to touch vagina, penis, anus, or breast of such person or any other person, or does any other act with sexual intent which involves physical contact without penetration even is said to commit sexual assault. And what is the aggravated form? It is already mentioned, so we do not want to go into detail. So there is a provision of punishment also. Dr. Gitendra also has mentioned. We need not to go into detail, but from 3 years to life imprisonment, and in few of the cases, death punishment is also awarded. So there was amendment in 2019 as far as punishment is concerned, and minimum rigorous punishment was advised 20 years, and maximum, that is death penalty, also in few of the cases. And fine imposed will be paid to the victim to meet her medical expenses and rehabilitation of such victim. So it is a provision as far as punishment part is concerned. So as far as this pornography is concerned, there is also provision of punishment of 5 years for first time. And if it is second time, then 7 years and fine also. So here one more word is abatement. So what is abatement as per Pocso, and then we will discuss as per IPC also.
Yeah, abatement means you're inducing somebody to do the act. So you could be an accomplished person, you're contracting somebody to do, somebody else does the act, and then you're also a part of it, and therefore you're abetting the crime. So
yes,
especially in pornography, you're abetting a pornographical act. So using the child, and therefore it comes under abatement.
So to constitute crime, if anybody instigates or helps, intentionally aids or engages, it becomes a amendment. And same was defined in section 107 to 120 of IPC: to instigate, to help, and to encourage. 3 words are very important. Why I am discussing? Because we will discuss case based later on. That is why this is for basic thing. So by instigating a person to commit an offense, by engaging in a conspiracy to commit it, and by intentionally aiding a person to commit it, so it becomes a abatement. So now in our day-to-day practice, we usually face some certain situations, and let us start discussion for that also. Dr. Gitendra also had shown some light for this kind of situation also. 17 years old girl comes with her boyfriend. She asks for contraceptive advice. She says that we are going to start our active sexual life, and we are here to have some advice from you as far as contraceptive measures are concerned. We do not go to end up into any kind of unwanted pregnancy. So 17 years old girl with her boyfriend is also minor, and ask for contraceptive advice. What will you do?
We will give, sir.
Advice?
We can give contraception even for unmarried if they are sexually active.
No, but no, I would say
they have specifically mentioned they have no complaint. They have no complaint. They are not asking contraceptive measures for any medical purpose. For a part of treatment. They are here from you to seek advice as far as contraceptive advices are concerned, not to end up into pregnancy, and they have declared that they are going to start their active sexual life. What will you do? Can you advise?
Yes, I will first.
Specific situation.
Yes, I will advise them. I'll tell them there is an act, there's a Pocso act that tells them that if they are having sexual contact before the age of 18, it is a crime. And apprehension of even that, they should be knowledgeable of the crime. And before, it is our duty as doctors to inform them that below 18 years, they are not allowed to have sex. But it is our duty also to tell them about, give them education of how to prevent pregnancy.
Yes.
So we can give them contraceptive advice. We can give them advice. Very good.
This is a very tricky situation. One side is moral duty and other side is law. If you do not advise and if they have decided to go for active sexual life, they will end up into pregnancy and they will come again to you for termination. So one part. And other part is law, because if at all you advise, then just we discuss abatement, you are helping them to constitute crime and they are minor. So in this type of situation, if one advises, then it becomes a case of abatement under Pocso.
And we must also tell them about Juvenile Justice Board,
Yes.
an act that also should be told that even if they will be prosecuted under Juvenile Justice Act.
Yes. So one can give them health education, rightly said by Dr. Vivek sir. One can give them health education, but cannot prescribe contraception, because on your letterhead, if you prescribe only for contraceptive purpose, say for example, if she is having a menorrhagia or so, and if you are prescribing contraceptive pill as a part of treatment, it's fine. But merely for purpose of contraception only, and specifically they have asked, both are them minor. She is 17, her boyfriend is also less than 18, I mean 17. And they have specifically asked for contraceptive advice only. So in this type of situation, not to end up into any kind of problem, better not to prescribe on your letterhead. You can give them health education, because we know all the provisions of law, but investigating officer, police officer doesn't know, and if he has decided to harass you, merely on that ground he can harass you. So be aware in this type of situation is my carry home. One more interesting situation. 16 years old girl is brought by her mother with complaint of vulvovaginitis with discharge per vagina. On examination, it is found to be a case of sexually transmitted disease. And on interrogation, retrospective history, she gives history of sexual exposure with her boyfriend. What will you do?
I will have to think about Pocso Act here.
Yes.
There are two things to it. As a provider of medical help, I will have to treat her for the condition for which she has come for.
Yes.
But it is my duty to inform the police about this person who qualifies to be protected by the Pocso Act. I will have to do a dual role.
Good. So you will have to be patient in any given situation, because she had been brought to you for vulvovaginitis and discharge per vagina. So as a medical person, you are duty bound to treat. And at the same time, it becomes a case of Pocso because she is minor. So you are under obligation to inform police in this type of situation. So treat her and inform police is carry home message. One more situation. 18 years, 6 months old married girl is brought by her mother with pregnancy of 39 weeks and she is for cesarean section. What will you do?
Only in the previous lecture, we were told that if the person is already over 18, we don't have to go back on the date of the sexual act.
Yes. So just now she is having pregnancy of 39 weeks. Of course, she is 18 years and 6 months. And if cesarean section is indicated, naturally we have to go for cesarean section, because first duty is to treat patient in any given situation. But at the time of conception, she was minor. At the time of conception, she was less than 18. So again, it becomes an act of Pocso. So you are under obligation to inform police. So proceed with cesarean section if it is indicated, but inform police in this type of situation. So carry home message in this type of situation. One is under obligation to investigate properly with careful history about sexual assault. If so, one has to inform police. One more situation. 17 years old girl with mother visits hospital with 6 weeks pregnancy for termination of pregnancy. Doctor explained that I will terminate pregnancy, no matter. My hospital is recognized for MTP center and I am qualified person. I will terminate pregnancy with consent of guardian. But doctor explains to the patient and relative that I will have to inform police. And patient and mother refuses for the same and leave the hospital without taking further treatment. Patient and relative abscond from the hospital without taking further treatment. What will you do?
I will still have to inform the police.
Yes.
Police.
So even very good. So even if patient
document.
Takes treatment, further treatment with you or not, doesn't matter. But she was 17 and you came to know that she was pregnant. So it becomes a case of Pocso and you are under obligation to inform police. So even then in this type of situation also inform police. One more situation. It would be illegal to do anything without consent of person. We know. So for any purpose, we have to go for consent. If patient is adult, if patient is mentally sound, then only and only patient can give consent. If patient is minor or if patient is mentally challenged, then consent of guardian is very much required. So it is very clear under section 164 of CRPC. But if patient is not giving consent to inform police, what to do? You have come to know that she is less than 18, she is minor, she is pregnant. It becomes a case of Pocso. But she refuses, or her relative who has accompanied her, they also refuse that we do not want to inform police. You please do not inform police. What will you do?
Not reporting to it is an offense. Not reporting that itself is an offense.
Yes.
We will write the AR entry and we will inform the child welfare committee also. Definitely we will put
either you can inform police or CWC, no problem.
But
so
first,
in this situation also you have an obligation to inform police or CWC. And in this type of situation, patient's consent is not required. To inform police, consent is not required. For examination or for treatment, it's a different story as far as consent is required. But to inform police in this type of situation, when it is a case of Pocso, you are under obligation to inform police and no consent of patient or relative required. Let us see one more interesting situation.
No, can I add here one? Can I add here one point?
Yeah, yes.
Before we go to the step of informing others, we should do counseling. We should take the patient into our confidence and tell them the necessity to inform. It's always better if the patient informs, either the guardian or the minor. We should tell them the consequence of not informing and how it is better if they inform. You should take them into confidence. That is most important.
Of course, you should explain, you can explain, but in this type of situation, it is all likely that patient and relative will refuse or they will say that please do not inform police. So even though in this situation, you are under obligation to inform police. Let us see one more interesting situation. 13 years girl is brought with history of sexual assault. Shall a doctor take consent for examination of a child about 12 years?
Yes.
Or simple. Let me make it simple. If child is more than 12 years, can she give consent for examination?
Yes, for examination, for treatment, and for collection of evidence. For everything we need consent.
For examination, she can give consent. But for treatment, say for example, she is profusely bleeding and some surgical intervention is needed. Can she give consent for that? Or would you like to take consent of guardian?
Guardian and but better to take both.
Yes. So as far as examination part is concerned, patient can give consent if she is more than 12. Of course, she is minor. But in eye of law, she is considered as a mature minor. So she can give consent if she is more than 12. Many a times, this question is also required. If patient is more than 12, does consent of parent required to examination?
Yes.
No. She is more than 12. For examination, she can give consent. So no consent of parents required. If child wants examination and parents refuses the examination, can you examine? Child is more than 12.
You can examine.
Yeah, competent. It is a competent minor comes and you must see the competence.
You can examine and you should examine, because when child sees more than 12 and she is willing to get examined, of course parents refuse it, but in this situation you can very well go further, because you are helping patient to come to conclusion exactly what happened, and you are helping law also that way. Let us see one more situation. If child is 14 years, wants medical examination, but parents oppose, same just we discussed further, previous one. Can parents sue the doctor for violating section 41 of Pocso?
No, you're doing it in good faith, so nothing will happen. There's a protection clause.
Yes, you are doing in good faith. So
And you're taking the
no
consent.
prosecution. Because section 41 Pocso, what section 41 says? Section 3 to 13, both inclusive, shall not apply in case of medical examination or medical treatment of a child when such medical examination or medical treatment is undertaken with the consent of parents or guardian. So it is clear, if consent of parents and guardian taken, then section 3 to 13 will not be applied. But here it is not also mentioned that if consent of guardian is not taken, that section will be applied. So if patient is more than 12 and mentally sound, and if she has given consent for examination, you can very well proceed further accordingly. Patient tells her age is 19 years and you are not sure or you are in doubt. It doesn't seem to be 19. What will you do?
Ask for Aadhaar card.
Proof of age,
Yes.
sir.
So
We
very
will get
very simple. Put me one
You will get
question.
the age. You will get the age certificate from the
Madam, let me put this question also, so we can discuss all together. Who is responsible to determine the age? If at all this case is in court of law and question is asked, who is responsible to determine the age?
The government. So you have Aadhaar card today. So they are identification.
Patient is brought to you. Patient gives history that she is 19, but apparently she doesn't seem to be 19. You are in doubt, and naturally you will go for confirmation. But who is responsible to determine age?
Doctor.
Naturally, doctor.
Doctor.
So responsible. So determination of age is responsibility of registered medical practitioner.
Yes.
And which are the ways to determine age? When you are in doubt, what will you do?
Do an X-ray.
Aadhaar card. Any
Straight
proof
away
of
X-ray,
age.
or you will ask for some ID proof.
Yeah, ID proof.
ID proof also. And,
ID is not reliable, sir.
No. If it is birth certificate, if it is school living certificate, if it is Aadhaar card, driving license, election card, they are valid documents.
Yes.
In eye of law. And you can subject patient for clinical examination, dental examination, radiological examination for ossification center, and you can ask opinion from forensic medicine department also. If you are in doubt, you can request police that I am in doubt and please help me taking opinion from forensic medicine department nearby medical college. So you can ask for that also. What is the role of doctor in this type of situation? When patient is brought to you and patient is less than 18, and when it becomes a case of Pocso, what is the role of doctor? Anybody can take.
Determination of the age. First, if
determination of age over. Now I am talking general. You have examined the patient, you have treated the patient, but what is your role?
You should give treatment. First, medical treatment has to be given.
So
whatever the problem she has come with, we have to solve that problem.
Yes. So we have to know law. Why we have to know law as far as this Pocso Act is concerned? Know our role. What is role of doctor in this type of situation? So first, compulsory reporting. If she is less than 18, we are under obligation to inform police or CWC, because in this very specifically mentioned, notwithstanding anything contained in the Code or Criminal Procedure 1973, any person, here word any person, not necessarily he or she should be doctor, any person, including child, who has apprehension that an offense under this act is likely to be committed or has knowledge that such an offense has been committed, he shall provide such information to a special juvenile police unit or police station. So it is mentioned in Pocso Act. So we are under obligation to inform police. Examination of victim, it is also our duty, and form opinion whether sexual assault happened or what was the actual situation. So we have to form opinion also. And there are so many controversies and difficult situations just we discuss. So we should be aware in this type of situation. So we doctors are first point of reference in confirming that child has been or is being abused. So with medical history, with examination, with necessary investigation, if at all we feel it necessary, and then we have to form opinion. It is our duty, and it is very much mandatory, very specifically mentioned by Dr. Jitendra also during his talk. Under section 19(1), it is very much required. But one more important thing, if fails to inform police, deliberately or by mistake or for any reason, if you have come across any patient less than 18, and if she is pregnant or she had been with vulvovaginitis and vaginal discharge and STD, and on interrogation, you came to know that it becomes a case of Pocso, and you didn't inform police, or for any reason, you deliberately didn't inform police, then what is the provision?
Yeah, section 21 will come where you are liable for 6 months imprisonment.
Liable for
So section 21, imprisonment for 6 months, and any person being in charge of any company or institution, if he is a head of the institution, then imprisonment
1 year.
is 1 year.
1 year.
So we should take this section seriously. So in this type of situation, nothing doing, we have to inform police or CWC. Then how to inform? It is also very much important, because it should be informed with acknowledgement. Because many times you have informed, but you have no acknowledgement in court of law. If police alleges that you didn't inform police, then how will you prove that you had informed? So always inform police with acknowledgement. So how you will inform police?
AR entry, sir. Action written entry, sir.
Yes.
We will write the AR entry, sir.
You will inform police by letter. So would you like to take signature in your other copy?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So at that particular time, please mention date, time, and person whom you have informed, and buckle number. Police station officer are given buckle number. So you have to mention that also. It is very important thing. But many a times, police refuses to give acknowledgement. Then in this type of situation, what will you do? How you will prove that you had informed police?
No, it is an offense that if they don't register the case, it is an offense.
Of course,
so
it is offense, but say for example, he or she refused to give acknowledgement after 6 months or 1 year. After 6 months or 1 year, case is filed, and on you there is allegation that you didn't inform police. How will you prove that you had informed? It is a very tricky situation.
We should get a signature from the police saying that we have informed and they are refusing to.
You have to take signature, but police station officer refuses to give signature. What will you do?
We will take it to the higher level, sir.
Yes, there are some ways. Say for example, dial 100, because it is recorded call. Whenever you dial 100, it is recorded call, and call is diverted to respective police station by registry. You can inform police by registry ID because it is valid proof. By mail, if your email ID of respective police station of your jurisdiction, telephone with recording. If you have informed on telephone, then it should be recorded. But before you start talking, identify person whom you are informing. Who are you? What is your name? What is your buckle number? And if you have recorded all this in telephone, then it becomes a good proof. And just mentioned by madam, inform higher officer. If lower level police station officer doesn't comply, then you can inform higher officer also. So these are some ways to inform police with acknowledgement. So our duty, just we mentioned, examination of victim, consent, who will give consent, we have discussed in detail, so we do not want to go into detail. So as far as this Pocso Act part is concerned, how to prevent, so not to end up into any kind of litigation. So carry on message from each of the panelists, final word from panelists, or pearl of wisdom rather, one by one. Yes, Manonmani madam. Are you there?
Patel sir, Manonmani madam is not there. Remaining
No
all
problem.
are there.
Kameshwari madam, carry on message from you.
Dr. Kameshwari.
Kameshwari madam. Anuratna madam.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What is your carry on to the audience, delegates? As far as Pocso Act is concerned, not to end up into any kind of litigation. What would you like to advise all the delegates?
First, we have to. Our records, all our records, Pocso case records should be acknowledged, and it should be in a proper way, sir. At any time it may come to the court. So it has to be in a proper way, in a, like with the sign and seal of the medical officer and that to the police people or whoever liable for that case.
Yes. Dr. Vivek sir.
Yeah, it is about mandatory reporting. It is essential all doctors report to the police station at the first instance. And also the second point is I'd like to tell them to counsel all our patients. Counseling is very important so that they are aware about this Pocso Act.
Yes.
These are two things.
Yes. Sumthi madam.
Sir, I'm a private practitioner. Most private practitioners get worried about being called to the police station or to take this to the police. So my recommendation over here, or the request over here, is not to refuse young children less than 18 years of age whom we find in our clinics and hospitals, and we should take up that responsibility of both medically addressing them, but as well as very strictly enforcing the responsibility to report to the police. We cannot put all these cases to go to the government. It is our personal responsibility as private practitioners also to take up the cases both medically as well as inform the police, and counseling of course is part of the whole thing.
Yes, Suhasini madam.
Yes, sir. So any children less than 18 years, it comes under Pocso Act. So we have to report. First thing is to report to the police and suppose in a written letter and get the acknowledgement, as you said, sir. And if suppose the police is not taking, then we have to report to the higher authorities, or you have to get a recorded this thing. And it is a must that all children less than 18 years, you have to report, whether it is with the consent or without the consent. Any children less than 18 years, it has to be reported. And the second thing, we have to give the necessary treatment for those children and treat them also simultaneously.
Yes. One more thing, due to paucity of time, we couldn't discuss. But if you are going to terminate that pregnancy, your center is registered, you are a qualified person with all the formality of MTP Act, Form C, Form 1, etc., and you are going to terminate pregnancy. What special precaution would you like to take in this type of situation? As far as product of conception is concerned, and informing police again?
privacy is to be maintained. Second is the concepts of conception should be kept in a saline
Yes.
water and given to the police, handed over to the police.
So you will inform police that you are going to terminate pregnancy of this particular patient on at. Please manage to collect product of conception. So you are under obligation to preserve this product of conception up to 72 hours. Even if police doesn't turn up, many times it happens, you have informed, but police doesn't turn up to collect product of conception. You may inform again before 72 hours. And even after 72 hours, they didn't turn up, then you are out of problem. You have to simply mention in your case paper, in spite of repeated instruction or request to collect product of conception from police station level, nobody has come to collect product of conception, because after 72 hours we have preserved in normal saline, so it is all likely that product may get decomposed, and purpose of this testing of DNA or so will not be fruitful. So in this type of situation we should be careful. So to conclude our discussion, carry on message: when minor is brought for examination and treatment for complaint about sexual abuse, responsibility of medical professional being an expert increasing manifold. Responsible medical professional is under obligation to report to appropriate authority about any child sexual abuse he comes to know during his professional medical duty. He has not only to examine and treat, he has to form opinion whether sexual abuse has happened. He is very important person to be helpful as an expert witness to prove a crime of child sexual abuse. So comply with the law of land. And one more thing, at the same time, when we are in, we have received the history of sexual assault, we should treat patient for HIV prophylaxis also. So because we never know that she may end up into that problem also. So as far as Pocso Act is concerned, be vigilant in your practice. Otherwise, be ready to face this type of situation at any time. So be vigilant. Take medical legal advice from point one. If at all you are in a doubt, you are most welcome to contact either Gitendra Sharma or myself, Dr. MC Patel or Dr. Hitesh Bhatt. We are always there to assist any of our Foxian friends. And we receive this type of phone calls many times. Sir, this is the situation. Please advise what we should do. So please do not hesitate. Whenever you are in little doubt, please have advice from us, because it doesn't matter how many resources you have. If you do not know how to use them, they will never be enough. This gentleman has so many staircases, but he doesn't know how to use them. So there are so many provisions in Act and law to save you. But if you do not know, then it will be troublesome. So have some basic legal knowledge and always obtain medical legal advice whenever you are in doubt. And if you want to sleep like this, take tender care of your patient, comply with the provisions of law, and keep my visiting card below your pillow. So
can I just add?
We are always there to assist you. If ever you need me, I will be just round the corner and enjoy litigation-free practice. सत्य परेशान हो सकता है, लेकिन पराजित नहीं. And this is law of leopard behind innocent gynecologist, and see the role of medical legal counselor. So how he can be useful in any given situation. So please do not hesitate to take help from medical legal counselor. So all the best. God bless you. Have a litigation-free medical practice. With regards, salute to the organizers and Sampat
So just a minute, sir. There is a question, sir. There's a question in the chat box, sir.
And yes.
Can I also add one word? It's important that you don't go to the media. Some doctors, for publicity, they will go to media when they are examining a pregnant underage girl. So they should not see media, and rather they should.
Personal identity of patient is not to be revealed in any situation.
MTT Act also says privacy.
As far as adolescent laws are concerned, there is also provision. If media leaks the information, then media is also under trial. Media may be tried if they have leaked any information. But being a medical person, we should be very careful and we should not disclose any personal identity of any patient, not for this Pocso, for any patient.
So there's
Yes.
a question, sir, in the chat box. Police caught a 19 years old girl under Pocso stating that she had sexual abuse at 16 years and asked me about her virginity after 2 years. Does it come under Pocso?
Chalo, any panelist can take, then I will conclude.
There is no time limit for reporting abuse according to Pocso. There's no time limit.
So
Just because she's more than 8 years.
whenever patient is brought to you, but on your examination or with your experience, if you are sure that when she was minor, less than 18, and it is all likely that she had sexual assault, you can opine. But whenever you opine, you should be in a position to justify your opinion. So with all the documents, all the positive findings, if you are, when you are very sure, then only you should opine. Because in court of law, a person on prosecution or on advocate on opposition will put so many questions and you will be in trouble. So you should be in a position to justify yourself in the court. Yes, any other question?
That's all. Thank you, sir. From
There's one
Kannur.
more. What is buckle number? There's another question.
Each and every police station officer, a constable, they are given buckle number by government. So to identify particular person, say for example, Mr. X, buckle number so and so, police station so and so, date and time, all this should be mentioned in our case paper. So in future, whenever we are facing any litigation or any information to be provided by us in any given case, then we can give information to the court that we had informed to this particular person.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
We will call you in person, sir. Patel, sir, we will call you in person to Chennai.
Very
Welcome,
interactive
always.
session.
I am always there.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you
interactive
to all
session,
panelists.
sir.
Okay.
All the
Thank you for
questions
this
will be
buckle number. I think most of us didn't know about this buckle number. The police buckle in the belt supposedly has one number for each police person.
Yes.
Which I didn't know till today, sir.
It is specialized number given to particular person.
Particular person.
And it is not repeated.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir.
Thank you,
all the
Patel, sir.
panelists. Thank
Patel,
you.
sir, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
Anjala
sir.
Lakshmi.
Thank you, all the panelists. Thank you, Dr. Maldi. Thank you,
So big round of applause for all the panelists.
Dr.
to make it
Suhasini and
panel
Dr.
stellar.
Anuratna
Yes.
for making
So-
it a very interesting and
Yes.
interactive panel.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you all.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you,
yes.
panelists, and thank you, sir. Thank you, moderator. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
We
Thank
have
you very much.
182 registrations, sir. 182.
Very good. Very good.
Very good, very good.
We'll move on to the last session, Rajshri.
Yes, we'll move on to the last session. And for this, can I have the slider? Kala? Yes. We welcome the chairperson, Dr. Amala Devi. Madam is a senior consultant obstetrician and gynecologist, Annai Perenbam Hospital, Dindakal. She joined in the medical service in 72 and retired in 2006. She is founder secretary Dindakal OG Society and president Dindakal OG Society for the past 10 years. She is also the president Dindakal Mahanagar Tamil Sangam and chairman Women's Doctor Wing, IMA Dindakal, and she has Lifetime Achievement Award by Thai Kudu Foundation in 2022. We welcome you, madam, and I request you to chair the next session, ma'am.
Good evening to everybody. I thank Dr. Sambat Kumari and Anjala Lakshmi Madam for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this very crucial and very important POSCO Act, who is to protect, not only protect the children, but also to give severe punishment to the culprits. So, this is the next speaker I want to introduce is Dr. Selva Kumar, Senior Professor of Forensic Medicine of India, and he is MD from Madras Medical College, affiliated to Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR Medical University. Received Best Doctor Award in 2018 from Government of Tamil Nadu. Guest faculty in Tamil Nadu State Judicial Academy since 2004. Guest faculty in Police Academy of Tamil Nadu since 2003. Guest faculty in Madras University for the MA Criminology students. Board of Studies in Forensic Medicine, subject for various South Indian universities, and offers expert opinion to investigation agencies, CBCID and CBI in medical legal cases. And Doctor, I think Dr. Selvakumar is going to talk on the role of obstetrician or the gynecologist, what they should know if under the Pocso Act. So I invite Dr. Selvakumar to give away his speech.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much, madam. Am I audible, madam?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Good evening, everyone. I thank Dr. Sambat Kumari, madam, and all my senior colleagues, and my salute to Dr. Patel, sir, and all the panelists of the previous session. Actually, he has explained everything. So my topic is restricted to examination in Pocso cases. First, many people misunderstand Pocso. It is protection. It is not prevention. It is protection of children. So in my experience, out of the cases, I want to tell you certain things. So only it will be interesting for the panelists. Yesterday, a case was received in a big hospital, private hospital. They were asked to wait for hours, then sent to a government institute, my college. So by the time it is evening, the case came in the morning. So they could reach our hospital, obstetrics department in the evening. So imagine the condition of the child who has to wait since morning till evening. So do you think the police woman, lady constables who bring them have a good experience in the hospital? No. I am talking about the other side because I am in contact with the police every day. But as an expert, you are doing an excellent job in your examination, treatment, all those things are, nobody can find fault with you. In medical examination, in treatment aspects, in all other counseling, all aspects. So if we have to be very free and carefully dealing with Pocso cases. To start with, before taking consent, there are certain things you have to see. Once the patient comes, now the patient or the survivor may come on her own along with their parents or somebody, or the police may bring them to the hospital, or they may come under a court order. So it is not like those days where we will receive the case only with the police request. Now the survivor can come on their own along with the guardian, either parent or guardian. That we should understand. Before proceeding with the examination, I would like to tell all the physicians or the lady doctors who are dealing with this case, please have the pro forma of this medical examination. Government of India has released a guidelines for examining these victims, child victims. So please have this in your cell phone, in your computers. It is only 5-6 pages only. It is self-explanatory. If you go through that, you will easily fill up. I often receive calls from the Department of OG in a medical college hospital. Sir, we don't have that form. We have entered in the AR register, accident register. That is not the pro forma. Please know, in the court of law, if you are appearing as a witness, expert witness who examine the survivor, they know you are strong in your subjects. No person can cross-examine and get over you. It is only by technical faults they will find fault with you. That is, your pro forma is not right. You have not taken the consent properly. You have not collected the specimen properly. You have not sent to the correct place. All these are the faults they will find against you. So remember, first, before a survivor comes to your hospital, and many people think now also, it is only the government hospital, they should examine and treat and collect evidence and submit the documentation. It is not so. Every doctor is obligated to examine the survivor. Only lady doctor has to examine. So before examining, if they come with the police, they will give a history of the case. So read that. I will tell you, no two cases are similar. No two cases are similar. The history is not similar. The incident is not similar. So unless you understand the incident, what has happened, where it has happened, how it has happened, how many times it has happened, then only you can know the gravity of the situation, gravity of the crime. So remember that the survivor is a child, unable to express, unable to understand what is going on. So remember to be friendly with the child and do not examine in the labor ward. Please have a separate place where privacy is important. And you will be having somebody by the side as a witness, a mother or somebody. So make sure the child is comfortable. You cannot get any information if the child is not comfortable. So always talk to the child before examination, before even getting consent. If the police woman comes, receive the information from the police and ask them to wait outside. You have to talk to the child with your nurse by the side or the mother by the side. Then know the history fully. So consent is one thing. Then history taking. I find in my service a quarter century, more than a quarter century, we should take a better history, like a case sheet. In sexual assault cases, the history taken by the medical officers, I find it is insufficient. It should be descriptive. It should mention it is place, person, every detail it should have. So then only accordingly only you can proceed with the examination. So consent, as sir said, MC Patel sir said, consent, you have to take 3 consents, one for treatment, one for examination, and one for evidence collection. You don't have to take a consent. They refuse to go to the police, inform that they don't want to proceed with the case, or they don't want to inform the police. That is not their consent. You have to mandatorily report to the police. And in all medical college hospitals, we have a police outpost. So there we send the book. We have a police intimation book. Every big hospital, nursing homes or clinics can have a police intimation book. It is very simple. From you, it is to the inspector of police to the nearby police station. Please have a book. Documents will help you. As sir said, you can inform over phone or text message or WhatsApp, but keep a copy of that. That will save you. Nobody can tell that you are not informed the police. And after taking consent, that number, I want to clarify here. For every constable has a number. You must be knowing. All our Tamil news show. Constable 1192 means that is the assigned number. Like our registered number, every policeman has been assigned a number. That is their lifelong number. Like our registration number. You need not worry about that. Write the name and the number. That is, you can very easily find out who is the policeman. We have given information. So consent, after consent, you take a detailed history. History gives you an idea about what has happened. You know what to examine. You know what to look for. If the history given by the survivor is only touching what you are going to get by your medical examination, what evidences you are going to collect by your evidence collection. They say, he only hugged me. He only fondled my breasts. He only touched the private parts. These are all the cases we receive. Here, you should decide what to examine. Nobody is going to question why you are not examining the other side, because your examination is based on the history given by the survivor. So please take a proper history and proceed with your examination accordingly. So you have to spend some time on history taking. Then all other details, you know what to write, obstetric history, all those things. I will not go into detail. There is a lot of confusion or difficulty in finding out why we are especially concentrating on two types of evidences. One is bodily injuries, other is genital injuries. Why this is court wants this, you to want a doctor to record, because general injuries suggest there was some resistance. She has not consented. All these things will be known, but the victim has taken every effort to get away from the accused person. She is not willing for this act, so she will struggle to the maximum. The struggle is exhibited in the form of general injuries. So please look for general injuries all over the body. You have to undress her to see whether any injuries are there on the body, especially nail marks. It may be very small. It may be over the cheek. It may be over the neck. It may be over the breast. It may be over the inner aspect of the upper part of the thigh. In an effort to open up the thigh, there may be nail marks. Breast, around the breast, there may be nail marks. Around the neck, to strangle her, not to, she should not shout. So there may be nail marks, small abrasions. These are all very important in sexual offense cases. Then any other injuries on the front and back of the body, all over the body, please thoroughly check. Any discoloration is important. That may be a contusion. Two bands will be there. We call it tramline contusion. If anybody is hit with a stick, there will be two lines. That is called tramline contusion. The victim may be a darker individual. The skin may not show the contusion, but you have to examine very carefully under a good lighting. Please concentrate on finding out general injuries, which gives an idea whether the child has resisted, struggled to the maximum to get away from the accused. Then coming to, it may be a laceration, it may be a bleeding injury, it may be a contusion, it may be a swelling, or it may be just a scratch. Small scratch over the cheek, over the neck, over the breast is very important. Or on the back of the body, maybe she would have been dragged on a rough surface. All her back will be abraded. These injuries are important. Then about going to the genital injuries. Genital injuries, I need not tell you, you are all experts in documenting, in examining, treating all these genital injuries. But remember, the police and the court don't understand the difficulty of finding out a genital injury. You know very well, in that part which is pinkish in color, minor cuts may not be visible. So nowadays, you know, the two-finger test is abandoned. Nobody is supposed to do a two-finger test. But in exceptional cases, if you want to find out some serious injuries, you can do. Speculum examination is permitted. Then about other, coming to other injuries, genital injuries. Please do not mention congestion in the place of contusion. You should clearly differentiate between a bruising and a congestion. Contusion is an injury. Congestion may be an accumulation of blood in that place. So please, if you find a contusion in and around the genitalia, it is very, very important. It is appreciated. It is opined in a different way. So in a child, the injuries may be too much, because the child cannot offer resistance. I am talking about the child who is less than 12 years old. She can be easily overcome. She may not even have a general injury, but she may have a genital injury. Too much of extensive genital injury. We have seen cases where even the anal area is torn, lacerated injuries, serious bleeding injuries. Please remember, First is your intention is to treat. Emergency medical care comes first. Then only medical examination, then only evidence collection. Give the option to the person to consent for only for treatment, only for medical examination, or only for evidence collection. If they refuse anything, please do not force. Counsel them. Enlighten them that these are all the good and bad of agreeing for medical examination and treatment. But give them the choice. If the child is less than 12, that parents has to give a consent. If she is more than 12, as Sir said, she can give consent. So about this. Then about evidence collection. You know, you are supposed to collect, how it comes, you have to collect swab and smear. In some cases, you have to collect the pubic hair. In some cases, you have to collect the nail scraping. In some cases, you have to collect the nail cuttings. So you have to decide. For example, they give a history of anal sexual intercourse or oral sexual intercourse. You cannot examine the vaginal area and collect the evidence there. Please remember, the history gives you the direction for medical examination. So you have to take anal swabs. In such type of cases, if it is a oral sex, you have to take a oral wash or oral swab accordingly. And if the child says she scratched on the body of the accused, then you have to take nail scrapings and nail cuttings. All these are depending on the history only. If the police comes with a history, they give a brief history. You can proceed with your examination accordingly. Then about opinion, I gave some, it is all in the pro forma. You need not worry about the opinion. I come across all my colleagues, obstetricians. All they will do pakka. Then while giving opinion, they will call us for opinion point. So this is, you need not get confused. Remember, all our opinion are suggestive only. It is not final. What we see on the body is only suggesting us something. We are not eyewitness. We cannot definitely prove any case. The opinion, they have given a list is given, a tabular column is given. We have given that in the newsletter. All our opinion is suggestive. Remember. So give your opinion boldly. What do you see? You have to give your opinion. Do not reserve your opinion. You have to give your opinion on the day of examination. You have to give a copy of the certificate to the victim under legal heir. Remember, in the pro forma, it is given. You have to give a copy of your pro forma, including the opinion, to the victim's family, victim and their family. That is mandatory. Are we giving? No. Why we are not able to give? We are not sure of filling the form. Why we are not sure of filling the form? We don't have a ready-made pro forma. See, our Tamil Nadu, government of Tamil Nadu has adopted the medical examination guidelines in Pocso cases or other sexual offences cases way back in 2013. As soon as the law was amended, Tamil Nadu is one of the first states to adopt those guidelines. Please remember, you cannot say, I don't know, because our health secretary had signed and it was passed on throughout the state, it is circulated. You cannot say, I don't have a pro forma, government has supplied me a pro forma. Because you are only going to the court, you are only going to testify in the court. You will be questioned, not other people. So you should have an answer. They will not agree the answer if you say, I don't have a pro forma. So how long you can collect swab and smear in a case of sexual assault? They have given a guideline of 96 hours. You have to collect these bodily evidences, which are called trace evidences, only if the case is reported up to 96 hours. But law doesn't prevent you from collecting evidence. If you think so, it still will be useful. You can collect even after that time. But you have to mandatorily collect up to 96 hours. If it is within 96 hours, the survivor has come to you for medical examination within 96 hours, you have to compulsorily collect trace evidences. So all this goes hand in hand, your treatment, your medical examination, your evidence collection. Then what about the follow-up? You have done everything. How do you pack and send the evidences you have collected? Every lady doctor or obstetrician thinks that it is not their duty. It is only their duty to collect trace evidences. Please remember, you have to write, the doctor who is examining the child only has to collect the evidence, and she has to only send the evidences back and send the evidence to the respective department, microbiology or forensic science laboratory, for swab and smear testing. So all these swabs and smear are sent to the forensic science lab. There are district labs, there are state labs. Remember, you can send through the police, but you have to collect, dry it under the fan, pack it, seal it, and give it to the police from address and to address. Please remember that you are sending a parcel. It is like sending a parcel. Dr. So-and-so from this hospital sending to the forensic science lab. So it is very easy, like a leave letter only. You just spend 1 minute, you will know what to do. Because we overlook these simple points, our crucial evidences are lost because the swab and smear are not dried under the fan. It will never test positive for semen and spermatozoa. Remember, if you don't dry the swab and smear under the fan, then only you should pack. If you don't do that, it is of waste. So you will never detect a semen or spermatozoa. So please air dry it and pack it and give it to the policeman through a proper seal and letter. So that is another thing. Should we reserve the opinion? At no point you have to reserve the opinion. You have to give a provisional opinion at the day of examination. But of course, police are liberal. They don't demand you the opinion on that day itself. But as per the pro forma, you have to hand over on the same day and a copy to the survivor, victim girl. So these things have to be done properly. Don't think I am overemphasizing. I am on your side. We talk to each and every lady doctor who come across this type of cases to support them, to back them up. As Sir said, another thing, age estimation. You can send it to us, send to any forensic person, we will give age. As per the Supreme Court, it is only the birth certificate which is number one. Then the school register, if it is based on the birth certificate. If you are in doubt, send to us, we will take x-rays, dental examination, all other things, we will give opinion, whether above 18 or below 18. You don't have to worry about. But confirm whether she is pregnant or not. You have to advise them on this to avoid pregnancy. There are chances of all these prevention methods, you have to guide them. Psychiatric opinion, follow up. Are we following up the child who has come with this type of cases, Pocso cases? No. We don't follow up that much seriously. That is very important. They say in psychiatry, after this incident, the child will not be normal minimum period of 6 months. So those times are very crucial. The child's life is in your hands. Please ask them to come for counseling, refer to a psychiatrist in our hospital or nearby hospital. This is very, very important. As Sir said, I summarized everything. You know, it is mandatory reporting, intimation to the police, consent you have to take, treatment you have to give, medical examination you have to do, and evidence collection and certification. If you do everything and you don't give your opinion, it is futile exercise. So please remember, you have to give your opinion. It is not at all difficult. If you look at that opinion format in that guideline, you will very easily tick one. Your case will come and fit into one category. That is very clearly it is given. And what are the samples you have collected, who has accompanied the person, to whom you are handing. You have to hand over the opinion in a sealed cover to the policeman who brings the case. He will hand over the opinion to the court. That is the system in Pocso cases. Other cases, we will deal with all the medical legal cases. We send directly to the court. through the police, second copy to the police. But in these cases, you have to give the opinion in a sealed cover to the police. He will give it to the concerned judge or the court, and he has to get an acknowledgement to you. Then only you are sure that your opinion has reached the court. It is not only enough if you hand over to the police. He will deny you. He will say it is not reported, it is not handed over to me. Remember, we have to be careful. Nobody should blame us in examination and reporting and certifying a case of Pocso. You are experts. Your examination treatment points, I don't doubt anything. It is excellent. Nobody can question you. You are above, you are in a different level of expertise in obstetrics and gynecology. No court, no policeman, no other doctor can compete with you. So where we fault, there because the police squarely blame on us. போனா டாக்டர் அம்மா காலையில 10 மணிக்கு போனோம் சார், 3 மணி வரல நிக்க வச்சாங்க சார். இந்த குழந்தைக்கு இன்னும் ஒரு சாப்பிட கூட வைக்கல சார். This is the usual complaint. Treat them as your child. Take care. Don't delay and give treatment first. Take them into your confidence. They should believe you. They should have faith in you. They should think that you are a neutral person who can help you. So it is not that we are helping the police and the court alone. You are doing service to the society. You are looked upon as God, next to God, in these type of cases. So know your responsibility and do a good reporting. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, madam.
Kumar. This
Thank
is
you,
a
madam.
very crystal clear talk. After a long time, we had this forensic department, how to examine the case, and most of the obstetricians in cities and in the medical colleges, only in government institutions, primary, this is Charlie headquarters and headquarters hospitals, we had been trained well to examine these type of cases. And in teaching institutions, it is little lesser only. And as we painfully Mrs. Vidya Reddy noted, most of the girls were seated for a very long time and they are made to wait just because of their other works or this thing. My suggestion is that if any one of the doctors or any separate rooms for this type of patients can be allotted, and one doctor on duty, whoever comes for this type of cases, can be fixed for examining the patient so that there may not be any delay in treating the girls. And the other thing is that, and appearing before the court, everybody is hesitant. So most of the cases are, they are treated like passing the parcel like that. When small hospitals, they go, primary health center, they will ask to go to the headquarters, and headquarters, where there is forensic department, you can go to them. This Pocso Act actually was introduced after the Nirbhaya case in 2012. After that gang rape only, this was amended in the schedule. And for these 10 years, there is no definite clarity or awareness about for the parents as well as for the public. There is no awareness, and most of the doctors also, this Pocso Act, they just take it like that only. And because below 12 years, if there is any sexual assault has happened, the victim can be hanged. The punishment should be very severe, the law says. But there is in between, there are some lacunae in these cases. So most of the culprits, they escape. So it is the duty of the gynecology. We are all women, and we are women who is giving do a lot of deliveries. We are seeing that one among them is that girl who was suffered by this sexual assault. And it is our duty to give a clarity for them, to convince them, to soothe them, and tell them that nothing has happened, that the life doesn't end with this incident. they have to know this. I think most of our seniors would have seen that Jayakandan's story of Agni Pravesam. No? In that story, he has mentioned about a girl who had been sexually assaulted, and then after that, how she came out in her life. So this is a very nice and repeated presentation, and I think this should be a physical presentations and workshops or conferences. One of the topics should be included this Pocso Act, and everybody would be allowed to communicate with the persons like Dr. Selvakumar, because most of us are hesitant to ask about these things, so the very good presentation and very nice also to hear his talk.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Rajshri?
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, is it necessary to make an AR entry if the victim is brought by the police to examine along with the court order? One. Can the accused name be mentioned in the examination form if mentioned by the victim?
Selvakumar, sir.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. AR directa vandangalla AR avasiyam illa, madam.
Okay.
If they come directly to you with a police request, not necessary.
Second question
Police
is,
request, they have already registered a case.
Yes.
No, she asked whether the name of the person should be
No,
entered
madam.
in
That is the
the
second
AR
No,
entry.
no, they are not supposed to enter.
Someone, you have to write previously, we used to write some person, some male
yes.
person
Yes.
around this. Like that only used to put.
Symbolically
And
represent, not the name, madam.
And
Okay.
sending
With that,
the
they should not be in a position to identify the survivor. That's our motto.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
madam.
Amla Devi, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Selvakumar.
Thank you,
was
madam.
very nice.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Sampath Kumari, madam, for the vote of thanks, I invite you, ma'am, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. We had a wonderful program for 2 hours. We should keep it frequently, I think.
Yes,
First of all, I thank President Dr. Anjalakshmi madam for permitting us to conduct this program. And I thank the speaker, Dr. Jitendra Sharma sir, Dr. Mrs. Vidya Reddy, and Dr. Selvakumar with wonderful talks, and Dr. MC Patel for the wonderful moderating the panel with efficient panelists, Dr. Suhasini, Dr. Vivek Medi, Dr. Anuratna, Dr. Sumati, Dr. Kameshwari, and Dr. Manonmani. I thank the chairpersons for chairing the sessions, Dr. Shanti Rani and Dr. Amala ma'am, and our coordinator, Dr. Rajshri. I thank Dr. Rajshri.
We should thank you all, ma'am, for choosing such a topic, because it's something that has to be discussed.
So delegates with the program is not successful. We had 182 registrations. So I thank all the delegates for participating in this. And I thank the Shield for the support, and Priya for working from the day one. Thank you once again. I thank all for the wonderful talk.
Thank you.
Selvakumar sir,
Thank you.
இப்ப நாங்க உங்களை டிஸ்டர்ப் பண்ணிட்டே இருப்போம்.
Dharalama, madam. Always welcome, madam. Always, madam.
Very informative, sir. Very
Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, sir. I
And
enjoyed your